we read. And well, first, thank you very much for being here. Thank you to LibrePlanet for support our stay in this meeting and facilitate our presence. We are going to present Rancho Electrónico and CoATV. Both are projects at Mexico City. Rancho Electrónico, it's a hackerspace, and CoATV is a TV channel. And what do you want to present?
Well, hi, I'm Stefanía, and I'm a philosopher who was, well, I'm interested in things about technology and affectos, or affects, I don't know how to translate that, but I wasn't like very, well, I didn't know about a lot of things of free software, but I recently work with Rancho Electrónico, so you know I have to change my Mac to another computer, or you know I was like kind of bullied because I have an iPhone and I didn't know a lot of things, but now I'm trying to learn some things, but I just want to tell you that my approach to these things is like for the philosophical way and not the technical way. So I'm kind of not very, I don't know, like I don't know a lot of things about it.
Yeah, I'm Marta. I've been involved in Hackerspace for about 4 years. I started giving maintenance workshops for laptops, and later I joined other activities. Actually, I'm in the Finance Commission and participate in CoATV recently, coordinating the season of training workshops for we who participate in CoATV and trying to add more people to the project. I work too in Tierra Común, a technology cooperative that provides technical support and free software. We give training and make documentation. Yeah. What?
That's our email.
Yeah. That's our site, our documentation in GitLab. So the Rancho Electrónico, it's a hackerspace where some people with or without technical knowledge get in touch to share and do workshops, talks, meetings, projects, working groups. Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, the Rancho Electrónico has a particular history because before Rancho Electrónico, it was called SAM, that is, it stands for Zona Autónoma Magno-China, something like that. That is related to something about Soviet Union. And it was in a occupied building that was very difficult to maintain a hack lab, because you know that we have to pay the internet and water and that stuff that is not easy in an occupied building. So when the occupied building was abandoned, a lot of people collaborate to rent a cellar with different collectives, and that's interesting because they were with an artistic collective that is Cráter Invertido, and another one that is of anarchists, that is Furia en las Calles, and these three collectives rent a cellar and were paying a rent. And paying a rent have like different difficulties, even for us, because we are an autonomous space, but we have to pay the rent, we have to pay the internet, so it's difficult because we don't, well, we will talk about that, but we don't necessarily receive money. So it's like, you know, you get precarious, but you believe and that you don't have to to receive money of people, not only money. So we have that logic that is difficult to maintain, but is like one of our beliefs, of our strongest beliefs. So that's the history of Rancho. And the first like meeting was a FLISOL, that is, what is FLISOL? Festival Latinoamericano de Instalación de Software Libre. So it's like, you know, maybe you were in a FLISOL sometimes, but it's like a lot of people get together and install software libre on computers that have Windows or Mac, I don't know, iOS, I don't know what is the Lion, I don't know.
Yeah, so our activities, the activities all are free access and 99% with software libre, free software. Yeah, we have a workshop of maps, streaming, introduction to free software, secret GPG encryption mail, session of sysadmin, coding, secure browsing. We experiment with Tor and Tails. Yeah, that. And the use of free software is related to sharing knowledge without people ending up tied to license for use. Because at the end of the time, some people can pay the license. Other reason is do not deliver the information that we generate to Amazon, Google, Microsoft. And the educational character provided by the software, because grant to the users access and experiment with it. That are some of our workshops, and GitLab, digital security, self-defense.
That's our last president, right? Peña Nieto, so it's like he was here in our conversations.
Mm-hmm. That was a workshop for kids. Another. Yeah, some people leave us some laptops like not working at all, and we try to make it function. Processing and dancing lab too.
Yeah, because we try not only to make like workshops about technology, but about self-care, or I don't know. We have one now that is about medicinal plants, and Laboratorio de Baile is justo porque sometimes like technical people are not like very funny, or they don't like to dance. So it's very difficult because we have to tend like being like, I don't know, tímidos, and that's interesting because when you enter to Rancho Electrónico, sometimes it's like difficult to relate with the people because they are all in the computers and they are not very friendly. And if you are not necessarily, if you don't know those things, you can feel it like a very aggressive, like, oh, I don't know why I'm here. But then you realize that they are friendly, but they are just shy. And we make those workshops because we believe that we have to relate to the body too, right? Know what is the relation between technology and body.
Yeah. Well, we have to book presentations and other kind of events, like this book of Activismo en Red y Multitudes Conectadas by Guiomar Rovira. Another book presentation. Yeah. The Hackerspace has a political character, and it seems attractive to present other kind of projects. And well, not all are of our community directly, but where well, they are interested in habitar our hackerspace. There's another book. Etherfix is a distribution, Linux distribution that, well, it's focused on free radio communities. So,
and that's an interesting one because Cherán is an autonomous place in Mexico. They have their local money, and they don't have like the typical government of Mexico there. So they have this what's the word in Spanish? Usos y costumbres, which means that they can have like the policy that they want, and they organize their community. And they have a una TV, so sometimes we are related to those projects and autonomous projects of Mexico, not only with TV Cherán, but sometimes with another ones like Los Mijas, que no recuerdo cómo se llama, Tlahuitaltepec. It's another one in Oaxaca. So we try to get like these links with them because we have the same purpose, that is about autonomy, even if we don't have like the same reference of or the same, significance, but we practice something that we believe to be autonomous. So for us, it's important to be related to those projects too. And that was a workshop with TV Cherán, right?
Yeah. Presentation.
Okay.
We also host a cata de mezcal.
Yeah, because we have to make like those events to recover some money. So sometimes it's like not related to technical things, but we try to support like independent producers of different kinds of things. So in this particular event was mezcal. So people who create and distribute mezcal without brandings are super welcome in our space because we understand that logic too. So we do those things.
Yeah.
And Crypto Rally was really interesting too because it was, well, rallies in general, no? Like you have to make work teams, and you have to do different things in a space. So we were in the city, like trying to learn some topics about digital defense or those things, and they have to, I don't know, like try to like, I don't remember, but it was something with Facebook. Why do you don't have to use Facebook, right? So they were like trying to learn how easily is to a company to obtain your information about Facebook, and they were working in teams. I think that they were like something with the mails too, no? They're encrypting their mails, like you learning those things, but in a funny way, or like trying to yeah, to walk in the city and those things. I'm not explaining it like really well, but maybe in Spanish it will make more sense.
Yeah. Mm. You want to explain?
I'm not really know. I don't know that one.
Okay. The constant participation has been able to create working groups focused on various topics like COATV with audiovisual material, the MAP group, Campechana Mental.
And Campechano Mental is like one of my favorites. We have different groups in Rancho Electrónico. I mean, you can create your group. So we have Campechana Mental that is focused on edition, digital edition, and they create their own their scanner. So it's the first one that is there. I think that you can find the instructions for doing it, but they try and they digitalize a lot of books. I know that it's illegal in some books, but we don't care. But because we have a different context in Mexico, and there's a lot of things that our precarious conditions permit, and it's difficult to understand. I know that we have Creative Commons. We also try to spread that kind of licenses, but we have to understand too that we are in a different country and we have like we are in different logics, in logics of understanding things, of learning things, the possibilities to access to some content. So we don't really care about digitalizing a book, right? It is a book. So they have like this library of VIH that is very important for our community. So they scan a lot of books that were related to that topic. And well, I think that's that's important for us too, to try to show some books that are not necessarily public. And well, they have, if you can return to the other one. For example, that one that is circles of reading books about anarchism or socialism. Now they are reading something about the ones that make derivas. Well, situacionismo. Yeah. So they are reading about a lot of topics. They are not necessarily people who know about technology, but they want to learn something about anarchism, for example. And that's another thing that I want to say about Rancho Electrónico. We don't have the same political view. So you can find like anarchist people, but socialists too, or people who don't care about anything, and that's okay too, because we understand that we don't have to have the same point of view. We have different process. So even if it happens that you can have like some bully because of an iPhone or a Mac, we try to stop that, because we understand that we don't have to know what are the risks of that, no? So we don't have the same point of view in everything, but we have like a political view, but it's plural, I will say.
Yeah. There's another group. And yeah.
You want to talk about that, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one was interesting too, because that was a workshop of cocina vegana, vegan cuisine. So they were pretty excited about that, and then create a restaurant after the workshop that function as a cooperative too. So they don't have, you know the logic of cooperativism. So it's Cocobeg in La Colonia Obrera, where is the Rancho Electrónico too. So it's, for me, it's amazing how these things happen, right? Because in an autonomous place, emerge otro espacio autónomo, no? We can find another autonomous space created of another one. And those create networks of workshop, but also friendship, right? Because we are the same people trying to make autonomous autonomous way of living. It's a struggle, but we can do it. And there's Cocobeg like an example, no? A restaurant that functions as a cooperative, and they don't have like sueldos. I don't know how to translate that. Salaries, but they provide food for their families and for them. And I mean, it's not all the things that you have to cover in your life, but at least you have food every day, right? So it's one thing about that workshop.
We have talks about STLN, and we talk about questions like how well do I know about the Zapatist movement, if their demands are valid, how do the Zapatists fight, and how do I agree, what don't. So.
And if it's a Salinas invent or something like that, because Mexican government always try to like disminuir the importance of the STLN. So for us it's important to understand what is happening, because maybe all the generations know about STLN better, but young generations like don't know anything. So for us it's important to keep like they call it like neo-Zapatismo, but it's like we support, like, for example, Marichui, if you heard about her, is one woman of CNI that tried to be in the boleta for presidency, running for presidency. She didn't manage to, she didn't achieve it, but we tried to fund the firms to, but she didn't achieve it. But anyway, we try to relate with STLN too. And sorry.
Yeah.
That is another one that is going to be like, there's no, yes, 29, so soon. And it's called Little Capitalist Cow, something like that. Because we try to understand also the logic of capitalism, and for us it's important to make it like, I wouldn't say funny, because capitalism isn't funny, but like ludico, trying to transmit the message and trying to think what is, for example, in cooperatives, what are the struggles that we have to manage. Like I said, we have to pay rent, and in Mexico City it's pretty expensive. I know that Boston is too, but Mexico City, for our economy, it's also very expensive. So rent a cellar, even if it's a bad one. Rancho Electrónico is in a in a neighborhood that is not very good, but even in that kind of neighborhood, it's pretty expensive. So it's weird. Gentrification, it's like getting there too. So we try to make those questions to people to get into the talk, and, well, you know, just talk and learn some things.
Our meetups. She has talked about Install Fest, Flisol. We also have Debian Day, Tor meetups, cyber feminist tales, hack meetings. Hack meeting, it's interesting. Yeah, did you like? The hack meeting, it's an annual meeting convened by the Rancho Electrónico, where interested communities can participate as host of the event and share their experience about self-management, autonomy, technical knowledge, and related with social movements. And this meeting has taken place since 2012 in states like Chiapas, Estado de México, Colima, Guadalajara, San Luis Potosí, el Distrito Federal, and linking more people from different places each year. That was in San Luis Potosí, and this Ciudad Monstruo.
Ciudad Monstruo is Ciudad de México, but we call it Monsters.
And Autofestival. Yeah. Autofestival is a meeting where autogestive producers from the city and nearby places come to share their experience and their production and bonding process. And that year, one note of the Autofestival happened in Rancho Electrónico. And we have Paris too. Yep. Crypto Party.
And in Crypto Paris, we share the GPG thing about meals. Yeah, I don't know how to say that, but
yeah.
Our keys, right? The keys for GPG. Yeah.
Anniversary parties too. That's another. And parties with causes.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was really interested in Rancho Electrónico, because they have like this thing about solidarity that is, they don't just have money for themselves. If you have a cause, yeah, and you need a space where to make something, maybe your party to have money, or maybe any kind of thing. Sometimes it's not related with technology, but most of the time has to be with those topics. But if you want to share something and you need a place in Rancho Electrónico, you're welcome to write us or to assist to the assembly and propose your idea.
Yeah, our activities are free software, free access, and free as in freedom.
I don't think they would understand that, but
yeah. Yeah, that's our principles that we try to follow. And it's not easy, but we go. Well, yeah. We have assemblies to the community for the community can inform and participate, and
it's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and there are publics because we want everyone to participate. So we have a mumble. So if you want to participate via remota, you can do it, or you can go to the Hackerspace and propose your idea. All of our decisions are taken in the assembly. So that's like an horizontal way to manage the space, because we have to agree to or disagree on a topic to make a decision on the space. That of course bring us conflicts, because we are not necessarily friends. That's weird. Some of us are friends, but not all of us. And that's weird. For me, it's weird because I haven't been in a space like that. So for me, we have to be friends, but I understand that we don't have to, and that conflict is okay. that we can have politic beliefs, but not necessarily be friends. And if you work on collectives or group of people, you know that conflict is always there. And well, for me, it was experience of learning to manage the conflict. We're trying to put feminism on the table, because for us it's important to make that a space where we can feel safe, where we can point if someone is being a macho, because you know that in technological spaces there are like a lot of machos. So for us it's important because sometimes hacker spaces are like very masculine spaces, and we have to, we are like few women there and a lot of men. And so for us it's difficult. For us it's also important to present Rancho Electrónico as a woman, because it's not like the typical thing. And well, it's a process. I try to understand that like a process, right? We don't have the answers of how to manage violence, or how to manage when someone is like confronting another one. Oh, so 5 minutes now? Well, we want you to show some videos about CoATV, because I think that are very beautiful, and I want to share that with you. So if we pass to the CoATV thing.
Yeah.
Pasamos a
Sí,
CoATV
pero,
y enseñamos algún video, porque ya solo nos quedan 5. And that thing that we don't receive money, you can clean the space, you can bring some food to the workshop, you can give a workshop, and we don't need you to give us money, because we understand that we have different economies, and we understand that in a context like Mexico, we can ask someone to give a precise amount of money. So you can bring anything you want to bring. But of course, that's difficult. And that's a video of our fundraising campaign. And those videos are made from CoATV, which was a workshop in Rancho Electrónico that then becomes a TV channel or in internet. And we create the content sometimes for Rancho, and we have like different groups in CoATV also. So if you want to show us something about your community, political things or not political things, they are welcome too. We try to be an open channel, but anti-fascist or those things. I mean, if you want to to share something like that, we don't receive it. And maybe you don't get it, but when in Mexico, when you are in a reunion and you want an informal reunion and you want some money to buy beers or food, you say like, let's make a vaca, o vamos a hacer una vaca, and you collect money from the people that is in the party. So for us, it's important that it's called vaca, because it's like we need the money, like in a party, like you help because you want, not because you are obligated or something like that.
No.
Oh no. And that's another thing that I want to show. Our website for donations, it's vaca.ranchoelectronico.org, and we try to play with the thing about terabyte, media giga, so you can donate 8 bits, that is 64 pesos, 1 bit 128 pesos, 1 terabyte, which is like the most expensive thing, it's like 1024 pesos. O sea, we try to maintain it like pretty accessible, but we also play with the teras and mega thing.
Excuse me.
And well, I know that we are running out of time, but Well, CoaTV is basically that project that try to make audiovisual content about things that are not necessarily covered from the popular media, well, from the classic or hegemonic media, right? So we try to cover political or social struggles that are not in the televisions or in the media in general. That is one, but I want to show another. That
No? Okay.
Mejor el del primer año de COA, que no sé dónde está. And COA TV, we have like 2 years working. That's a video that I really like about the first anniversary, because it kind of shows you like all of the things that I'm trying to say, but in a audiovisual way. Because we don't have time.
Thanks.
And also we have crypto cards that I didn't have time to announce, but we are trying to raise some money for Rancho Electrónico. If you want some crypto cards, we can, whatever you want to read, it's okay. That's possible.
Okay, and so we have 8 minutes for questions. So if y'all have questions, raise your hand and I'll come around.
All of those brochures, the art was amazing. How many artists do you have?
That's a thing that I really like, because I think autonomy is not only about dialogues, but images, and we have to create an imaginary of what autonomy is. For me as a philosopher, the first approach to Rancho Electrónico was, of course, their images. And we have a lot of design. Well, not really. We don't believe in professional skills. So if you are not a designer, you can do the pamphlet or whatever you want. We have like 1 or 2 designers, but most of them have been like working in Rancho Electrónico and working with the programs of free software of designing, but they are learning there. So it's pretty interesting that they are not necessarily designers, but they learn and they transmit their aesthetic point of view by themselves, just using GIMP or using Blender or using a lot of free software programs. But But yeah, we don't have designers. We maybe just one or two, no?
Well, we take graphic of Just Seats.
Just Seats is important for us. It's a collective of cooperative of graphic. Yeah, but we also produce our graphic, and it's important for us to create how autonomy could look or how we imagine autonomy.
What's society's reaction to you? You also seem to have a political side. Does society society meaning the general society, does it regard you as kind of scary or threatening or?
No, I don't think so. We have different sellers but in Mexico City, in the same neighborhood that is Colonia Obrera, I think that they didn't have problems in the first two, and in this third one that we are living there, well, we don't have problems, and we try also to link with the community, but because for us it's like the most important thing, and for example, maybe they are not interested in encrypting their emails, right? But they want to fix their lights from Christmas trees. So one of the activities that one of our members did was going to the street and just put a table and like I think we can fix your lights of Christmas trees. And a lot of people, some people went. And I think that they don't think that we are hackers because our space is not like very precarious. So you don't imagine like a hackerspace like the way is our hackerspace. It's not a maker space, for example. It's pretty different. Although we try to create things, and we do, we look like maybe like an Ocupa. I don't know if that's the word. Because, we have, all the things that we have are for donation, so we don't have like a good table. Well, we have like 3 good tables, but they are look different. Or for example, CoaTV have like the cameras are very expensive and the 3PS too, so they are donations from around the world, and that makes an aesthetic like pretty particular, but I don't think that they see us like malicious hackers. They think like we are people doing weird things, I don't know. But we try to link with them with these things like fixing the lights. Yeah.
And we have time for one more question.
Thank you very much for a great talk. You seem to do very well creating connections or being integrated into like the anarchist community or the like anti-capitalist, feminist, all these other social movements. And you talked about doing comedy and dancing and things like that. Can you just expand a little bit more on how you make those connections and how you are so well integrated with all these different activist communities?
Well, I don't know if I can do that, but well, for me, it was very important to be in the space because I was making a thesis, my master thesis about the space. And I was very afraid of making a thesis about hackers that don't want to be exposed. And I was very, very nervous, and it really took me time, but for me feminism is important because I was close to Mikra and or other girls of the community, and they support me and they were very friendly, so I don't feel like this thing about masculinity in the space. And I think that's why I can make those links, because I live there. And as a philosopher, we are not used to be in the spaces or make these things about real things. We don't have like this of anthropologists, we just read books. And for me was my very first, my impression to be in campo, we call it like that in anthropology, So for me it was difficult, and for me was important because I can think different things with my background of philosophy, but with a lot of things that I don't know about technology. I think that I'm not answering your question, but we can talk later if you want, because I think it's a very good question. I'm also trying to explain myself how I'm making those links, but of course it has to be with two concepts, I guess, that is aesthetics and politics for me, and experience, that is like the thing related to the aesthetics, is the link between the experience of politics and an autonomous topics. Something like that. Yeah, well, thank you very much for being here, because we know that we have Thor at the same time, and we thought that we don't have a lot of, well, we thought like, no vamos a atender muchas personas, but thank you very much.